Hi everyone, so today we're going to cover a topic of planning your PhD program in the very beginning of your program. But this video would also be useful and can be easily applied if you're starting your new year or if you are at a random point of your PhD. It will work as well. Here are tips for productive PhD program. So you were accepted for your PhD, you got an offer, that's perfect. First of all, congratulations. Depending on the country you're in, the duration of your PhD program would vary, but in any case, it's a short-term contract that would imply loads of work. So what's the solution? Of course, it's planning. For me, planning and creating strategies is just the best thing, the most fulfilling, therapeutic, healing processes. Because if you have a plan, it's always easier to correct some points than just to act without any plan. It's like playing darts and not actually seeing that aim where you have to shoot. Or there's another citation that I really like, that is, steering a ship that's moving is easier than the one that just stays still. So get yourself in a planning mood, get a cup of tea, and let's get started. Well, first of all, it's very important to embrace the uncertainty. The uncomfortable feeling that you may experience is completely normal. In fact, it's a very logical response from your brain to follow the path that you've already followed before. It's fine, but try to collect different, more unusual information. Do not opt for the first guess and do not shoot into action.
What I'm trying to say here is that yes, the time of your PhD is limited, but it doesn't mean you have to start huge projects right away or to follow all the ideas that come to your mind. Remember, the PhD program is more than your PhD project. The impact or perish mentality is unfortunately a real issue, but take some time to wander around your topic. Treat the several years as a playground. PhD is a journey of self-exploration in a, let's be honest, quite secure way. Perceive those first years as if you were getting paid to fail. Try to take classes you were always interested in, but found them too demanding to do that for credits. Ask big professors stupid questions with an excuse of just starting your PhD. Get mentorship advice from everywhere and everyone and fixated in a material or virtual space. Get creative after all.
The second step is that it's crucial to disentangle two different processes in your thinking. One is diverging, so creating more ideas, generating more information. And the second one is converging. That means filtering and selecting ideas that are somehow better than others and getting rid of those that do not please you anymore or are not optimal. After you have a list of ideas that you composed after diverging, go through it and develop each. Start to look at the bigger picture and make some connections. Maybe some of your ideas were just different angles of the same idea, so you can reunite them, but do not decline any of the list entries so far. Make reorganization only.
As for the step of selecting ideas that work and getting rid of suboptimal concepts, there are various steps on how to do that. My suggestions would be selecting the ideas that you like by criteria of personal development, mere interest, or potential collaborations that may arise for that work or from that work. Then create a rating of your ideas by ranking each in accordance to a criteria. I will go to coaching techniques for other ways to converge.
The next one would be do not wait too long until actually taking some action. That should not be like a proper campaign or creating an experiment or doing whatever applies to your PhD. That should be something like piloting, something that you can check without much effort on a very small sample, something that you can actually look at to see the result, to get inspiration for some hypotheses, try to look at the tendency of how your subject or participant would behave. Remember to experiment, because after all, we are experimenting. We have to treat our PhD and our projects as a laboratory. So let's get creative with that.
Step 5. Try to identify ideas that really matter, not those that you think you should own while doing your PhD. Some would like to do teaching, the others would want to create a startup at the end of the program. Each path is unique, and this is okay, just try to adapt yours to your program. Something that may help is to reflect on what you want to do after your PhD so that you can apply those ideas onto the skills you want to acquire and the career ways that you want to explore.
So the last step is remember that you are so much more than your PhD. Finding the balance may get harder at some point. I know your PhD doesn't have to be that dramatic, but you want to get prepared in order to not accidentally put yourself in a rat race. Try to create a plan of your ideal, balanced life that goes beyond your 9-to-5 job. Creating an ideal week in your Google Calendar might also be a very good solution, a reminder of keeping track of the work-life balance. For example, something that I love to do is to integrate group sport trainings or classes in order for them to be fixed in your timetable. Like this, you have to show up and you cannot just miss a training. And especially if it's a continuous training, like something, let's say dance classes, you can't miss one class in order to still advance. So that's something I like. Same with language groups, for example. I feel more responsibility when I have to show up in a group meeting rather than I do one-to-one sessions where I can always cancel and not show up. I think for me, group trainings generally work a lot more effectively than individual ones. I also ordered tickets to various cultural events way in advance. It also might be a French influence or European influence where they plan everything way before the event happens. But theater performances for most of the year, most of the season are planned already. And that's very helpful because I don't have to find a place for those activities anymore. They are already blocked in my calendar. I also do the short-term planning every first Sunday of the month. There is a free admission to most of the museums, so I also try to book it in advance in order to actually make it happen on that free Sunday. Because if it's not planned, if it's not reserved, well, it's not done, okay? My next goal though is to start planning vacations in advance. Something I would love to block is something like Christmas vacations in a specific country that are planned way in advance, but that's the future goal. So generally speaking, the tip is try to create space in advance to block time for yourself as much as possible so that when the time comes, you don't have to rush and create the activities. That will help you to prioritize your life over your PhD and would act just as a quick reminder that your life is so much bigger, broader than your PhD program.
That was it for today's episode. Remember to embrace the uncertainty, distinguish idea generation from idea selection, not rushing into the first option, trying to identify the ideas that really matter to you, and always remember you're so much more than your PhD. Stay curious, don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye!